Brad's blog, he put up the rules that they actually made a change to the rules right before the caucus, and it was to allow no photo ID necessary for any voter in the Republican Iowa caucus. And I guarantee you, I've heard this issue raised up many times by the Republicans about how they want to have IDs on everybody who's going to vote. So it keeps the illegals from voting and all this. But it doesn't matter in the Iowa Republican caucus. Then it doesn't matter. As many people as we can stuff through the door to vote for our two shill warmongering candidates, we're going to do that because we either want Obama in or we want Romney, and or maybe, I don't think they really want Santorum or Gingrich, but I think it's going to be, this push for Romney, that he's our savior.
Good evening, everyone. The official count shows Mitt Romney won the Iowa caucuses by 8 votes.
But what if that count is wrong? The Iowa Republican Party is still in the process of certifying the results, but one Southern Iowa vote counter says when they do, they're going to discover that Rick Santorum may have actually ended up winning the Iowa caucuses. We asked our Amanda Lewis to look into it. Amanda?
Edward True says he helped count the votes at his caucus on Tuesday night. He even jotted the totals down to add to his Facebook page. But when he checked his totals against what the Republican Party was reporting, he says the total number of votes for Romney somehow went from 2 to 22.
Caucus night was chaotic in many places, with hundreds of voters, candidates showing up, and the throngs of media who followed. The world's eyes were on Iowa. But in Appanoose County, in Moulton, at the Garrett Memorial Library, a caucus of 50 people may just blow up the results.
When Mitt Romney won Iowa by 8 votes, and I've got a 20-vote discrepancy here, that right there says Rick Santorum won Iowa, not Mitt Romney.
28-year-old Edward True helped count the votes and jotted the results down on this piece of paper to post on his Facebook page later. His notes say Mitt Romney received 2 votes, but according to the Iowa Republican Party's website, True's precinct cast 22 votes for Romney.
This is huge. This essentially changes who won.
A spokeswoman for the Iowa Republican Party says True is not a precinct captain and he's not a county chair, so he has no business talking about election results. She also said they wouldn't offer any interviews on possible discrepancies until the vote is certified.
KCCI political analyst Dennis Goldford says even if the caucus results are wrong, it's not the end of the world.
This will make Iowa look a little foolish in the eyes of the rest of the country, which already questions the seriousness of the caucuses. But in terms of Santorum's results here, the caucuses have made him a player in presidential politics. And if he should nudge ahead of Governor Romney for the final certified results, that's not going to make really any significant difference at this point.
True, who says he's a Ron Paul supporter, hopes it was a simple mistake.
I imagine it's a good possibility somebody, instead of hitting 2, might have hit 22 by accident.
But he says he won't stop talking about it until the state, by his count, gets the numbers right.
I personally witnessed being counted and assisted in counting, and am certain are right.
True said there was one other mistake. The Iowa GOP reports there are a total of 79 votes cast at his caucus, but only 53 people attended that night, he said. He said 20 of the non-existent votes went to Romney, but he has no idea where they counted an additional 6.
So True contacted Iowa Republican officials about this?
He said he did, and they knew who he was when I called, but they declined to comment.
Not going to say anything about it?
Not until the votes are certified.
And we'll wait for that for about a week and a half or so, right?
Yeah.
Amanda.
Article from the Red Dirt Report. Cockeyed Hawkeyes. Romney wins in Paul-friendly super caucus. Here's a different caucus in a different county. Let's see. It was Coralville, just outside Iowa City. And at the Super Caucus, Red Dirt Report covered in Coralville, Iowa, just outside Iowa City, there was not a single Romney sign visible in or around the large conference center. Yet he would go on to win, despite Ron Paul signs outnumbering the Rick Santorum and Rick Perry signs 7 to 1. And if you go back to the original, go back to that first graphic that actually shows the Coralville presidential straw poll results. You see Ron Paul there with twice as many as Romney had in that particular district. And then we got this long quote here. Where did Romney's support come from in Coralville? He would get 262 votes according to the Des Moines Register, and Ron Paul would get 203. Precinct 4, which we covered, overwhelmingly went to Paul, which we saw in those numbers. He got double of Romney, more than double. And there seemed to be a lot of activity going on in Precinct 6.
I had received a phone call. This is Edith. I had received a phone call about 11:20 from the Romney worker who had been working in our county, and he said he needed the count. And I said, well, why do you need the count for 2-2? And he said, well, they don't have it in Des Moines. And I said, but I know they were called in.
Huh?
And he said, well, I think that there was a computer glitch, that the computers went down. And I said, oh, okay. And so I gave him the requested numbers.
And so did your own precinct, did Clinton County come out the way you thought it would?
I really thought that Ron Paul was going to do a little better than he did tonight.
So as you can see, she thought Ron Paul was going to win. Yet it didn't turn out that way. Mitt Romney took that county, I think, by about a little over 200 votes.
The Associated Press has just reported that, quote, some guy is driving the vote tallies in his truck to the reporting center. We are waiting on the results from that guy in that truck, probably to determine this race. As you look at the differential there, it is so close. You're talking about, hundreds of votes from someplace like Story County. Right now it's 113 separating Rick Santorum and Mitt Romney.
Wow, and it all comes down to that guy. Campaign Carl Cameron is live at the Romney headquarters. What about that guy? Do they know that guy? Are they waiting for that guy? Do we have any idea how fast that guy is driving, Carl?
Well, it's Iowa. There's some highways with 70-mile-an-hour speed limits, and they got a few in Story County.
Just like the rest of us, wish we had a better update for you in terms of producing a result. So far, we don't. Carl Cameron, thank you.
37 votes. That is what separates first and second in the Iowa caucuses at this moment. 97% reported.
How many votes are in the truck?
Some guy with some truck, at least hundreds in that truck from Ames, Story County, the home to Iowa State. One would think that would be a Ron Paul territory, but you don't know exactly how that breaks out. But 37 votes at this hour, 97% reporting.
Oops, they had to put all those different precincts in a truck. It disappears and Karl Rove doesn't know where it is, but they had a gentleman's agreement and Santorum moved up. I mean, this is incredible. Here it is.
Romney is going to win the Iowa caucuses by 14 votes. How solid is your evidence?
From a pretty good, reliable source. They made the correction in Story County, which moved it from an 18-point margin for Santorum to a 4-vote margin for Santorum. Clinton County, right. You have the one outstanding precinct in the state, and that it will show an 18-vote victory in that precinct for Mitt Romney, which will give him a statewide victory of 14 votes over.
From out of nowhere, it's Rick Santorum. So I don't understand. You're saying that they basically have come to an agreement as to what the vote's going to be in Clinton?
The person who's got the official piece of paper is missing. But the Romney and Santorum people who are monitoring it agree on what the number is. They apparently have rounded up the representatives of the camps who have agreed, yes, we were there, we know exactly what the vote total was, and we both agreed to what it was.